All right, you guys, just finished watch All In, and I gotta say something before I start with my review. I love pro wrestling. I'm pretty sure you guys that watch me often knows how much I love wrestling, but it's so much part of my life outside of work and being a mom that it just literally consumes my time. Like everything outside of my life is all about wrestling. Now, recently I went to Dynamite and I felt so emotional, like in a kind of a bad way, because I felt like I was sitting on the wrong side of the stage. Like I should not be sitting out in the crowd. I should be like sitting back there doing stuff with production and doing stuff with, putting the shows together. That's what I feel like I should be doing rather than sitting in a crowd at a wrestling show. So I was already moving, but I didn't find a place yet. So I was like, fuck it. I called my best friend and I told him, I said, look, I should not be sitting in a wrestling crowd. I should be back there putting these shows together. I am going to a wrestling school and I'm going to learn how to promote and how to work backstage. And, my bestie said, go for it. You should do it. So I finally found a place to go. And I live 10 minutes away from a wrestling school now. And once I get situated with living here and with my job and all that stuff, then I'll be going there and I'll be learning how to promote and all these things that go on backstage. It is pricey, but it is worth it. With Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt passing away earlier this week, tragically, both with illnesses, these two guys, they got a chance to make something out of their lives doing something that they absolutely love. And unfortunately, they passed away, especially with Bray. Everyone was waiting for his return, and unfortunately, that will never happen. But he got a chance to do what he loved. And most people do not pass away saying that they got a chance to do what they love. And I want to be able to say that I did what I love, which was be part of pro wrestling. And with that being said, AEW has definitely revived my love for pro wrestling. And with this show that they had today, it was really, really awesome. So let's talk about what happened. All right, y'all. So I guess I missed half the pre-show because I thought the pre-show was going to start at 12, but I guess it started at 11. I have no idea. Now, I'm sure I didn't miss anything. Normally, I don't go over the pre-show, but we had the ROH titles on the line, Aussie Open versus MJF. Honestly, I was disappointed with this because I like Aussie Open a lot. And not only have I seen them wrestle with AEW and ROH, but I've seen them wrestle at several other promotions, especially in New Japan. And I follow them closely because I really love their style as a tag team. And tonight, we did not get the best of Aussie Open. So it almost felt like it was made a little easy for MJF and Adam Cole to take the win, especially since they're going to be in the main event later on. So they didn't want to put them under too much work with Aussie Open so that they can be as fresh and as good as possible when it came to the main event. So for me personally, I did not like it, but the match was good. But for somebody who follows Aussie Open, you're probably not going to enjoy this. Now, MJF finally does get to do his kangaroo kick, and I thought it was going to be stupid, but it actually was pretty good, and he did a kangaroo kick on both members of Aussie Open at the same time, so it worked out. It's pretty much a drop kick. Now, long story short, Aussie Open lose the titles, and I'm not happy about that because I wanted to see Aussie Open have a feud with the Kingdom. There was no Roderick, there was no Kingdom getting involved, nothing like I thought or was hoping would have happened. And yeah, we had new champions. I wish this would have been a much more hard-hitting match, but obviously that wasn't going to be the case because of MJF and Adam Cole being in the main event. Now, up next, we do have Jack Perry versus Hook. Hook comes out first. Then Jack Perry comes out in a stretch limo. And it stops right where the entrance is, where all the wrestlers come out. Now, Hook, he doesn't want to wait. So he goes and meet up with Jack Perry by the entrance. And they start fighting. And they use the limo as a weapon. One thing I could appreciate about this match is that they use hardcore elements and paid homage to ECW in this match. So that I really did enjoy. Now, with that being said, there was a spot in this match where Hook, he I forgot what he does exactly, but he slams Jack Perry onto the glass windshield of the car. And right before that happens, Jack, he hits the glass like this, and he's like, look, it's real glass. And that's him referencing what's been said in the dirt sheets lately about him and CM Punk and how CM Punk didn't want him to do a spot. I'm going to get back to that in a second. Now, like I said, a lot of hardcore elements with this match. Did they go full on hardcore? No, they didn't. And I wish they actually did, because I think that would have meant a lot more when it comes to the FTW title. Anyway, Hook takes the win with a red rum. Jack Perry taps out. And yeah, Taz is on commentary, damn near crying his eyes out. And Hook is definitely not just a champion, but he should be bringing some like importance back to the title. Now that the title won't be retired, I'm kind of hoping that AEW does recognize this to be part of an official AEW title, so that it can mean much more, because honestly, we need championships to feel important again. And with that being said, right after this match is CM Punk versus Samoa Joe on the main card. The dirt sheets had already reported that in between the time that Jack walked his ass out to the back and CM Punk walks his ass out to the ring, they got into a physical altercation, and Jack Perry was ordered to leave Wembley and probably even told them take the flight back to America at that point. And I'm just like, what the hell? It just seems absolutely insane. So because of the comment he made about the windshield before going through it, that's the reason why he would get into a physical altercation with CM Punk. That is just absolutely insane. I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is true, that mysterious person with the notepad and the pen that's waiting to report everything is back there once again reporting to the dirt sheets, and it's absolutely insane. All right, so now after allegedly whooping Jack's ass backstage, CM Punk makes it to the ring, and the crowd is loving Punk. Now, with this match, we do have Samoa Joe, who is being unapologetically aggressive, which I love, and he's playing around with the crowd a lot, getting them to chant whatever the hell he wants them to say, and just getting a rise out of the crowd or whatnot, so it made the match more fun. Now, I can't say this. CM Punk, since he returned, those first few weeks, he was super, like, on the safe side with wrestling. And these past few weeks, he's been more of himself in the ring. So that's really what I wanted to see, was that CM Punk would be comfortable in the ring again with Samoa Joe, even more comfortable than the last match that they had at the Owen Hart tournament. And I do feel like he was much more comfortable. Now, I was expecting a little bit more from this match, I won't lie. Obviously, CM Punk is going to want to retain the Real World's Championship. So I was kind of hoping to see either a more desperate CM Punk or a more aggressive CM Punk, and I don't feel like we saw that. But either way, I was shocked with the ending where CM Punk wins with a Pepsi plunge. I was just like, what? When I saw he did that, I was like, this is not the finish. Joe's going to kick out, and he didn't. And I was surprised. I didn't think he was going to go with a GTS. I thought either he can go with an Anaconda Vice or he can go with a Coquina Clutch. That would make things so much more personal if he would have somehow beat Samoa Joe with Samoa Joe's own finisher. So the ending, to me, it could have been different. I would have preferred that. Now, after that, we do have trios match. We have Jay, Juice, and who was a partner in this match? Oh, Takesha versus Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Hangman Adam Page. I didn't really care about this match coming in. They do have a great match, but I want to say, when you're not emotionally invested in something that just came about like 2 weeks ago, it does take the fun out of it. And at times it feels like all these guys are in the ring. Things just get a little unorganized. I would have taken the pace down a little bit in this match, because it seemed like everybody just wants to get in all at once and just prove a point. And that gets messy. Now, I'll tell you what I did like. What I did like was the ending. We have Takesha, who ends up taking the pin on Kenny Omega. okay? This is so important, okay? How this match was going to win, how the match was going to end. And it had to be Takesha to get that pin on Kenny because, like I said, the story going into All In should have been Takesha versus Kenny, but we didn't get that. But now we're going to get that. So Takesha ends up winning with a roll up, which I really, really hate, but it came at a surprise to Kenny, so that's okay. If it wasn't something that was a surprise to Kenny, he might have just kicked out of that. But either way, Takesha wins and he runs his ass out of there, and Don Callis is happy about his replacement winning the match. So I like that that's how they ended. Now we can finally start the Kenny Omega Takesha story. That's what we should have had for this pay-per-view. But let's get patient and see what happens next. So next we had FTR versus the Young Bucks. This was a great match, but like I said, if y'all hoping for this trilogy to be anything like FTR and the Briscoes, that's not gonna happen. But I really did enjoy this. Now, the Young Bucks, they do start off with such a high pace in this match. And I think that shakes up FTR. They probably wasn't expecting that. And they were forced to pick up the pace with the Young Bucks. So at first, I didn't really like that. But then the match did pick up. And so many times, I felt like, you know what, the Young Bucks is going to end up taking this. But fortunately, that did not happen. FTR ends up retaining with a shattered machine. I was so happy. Now, after the match, FTR do extend their hand to go shake the Young Bucks' hand, but they're bitter buddies and they're not happy about losing, and they decline the handshake. It's whatever. I don't care. Now, throughout the show, for commentary, we do get the commentators switched a few times. We do have Nigel and Excalibur. They stay on commentary, but we go from JR to Shivani to Taz in whatever order that is. And it was like after every few matches, they will change one of those guys. And at first, I thought they were only doing it for JR because you guys know JR is recovering from beating cancer or whatever. So I thought, oh, maybe he's tired. They got someone to replace him. But then they were replacing commentators all night. So I was like, I don't know what the point was of doing that. Anyway, the show still continues. And at this point, I'm still feeling pretty entertained. But there was some parts of the show that didn't really get me. Okay, so the Stadium Stampede match, we had Team BCC and then we had the Best Friends team. They finally did something that I actually really enjoyed. I'm not talking about the wrestlers. I'm talking about the production. They actually put 2 screens so we can see different things going on at once, which I thought they were not going to do because I didn't like how they normally film the Anarchy in the Arena matches, where it's just like there's a whole lot of shit going on. You could hear the audience reacting to something way over there, but you're seeing something that's over here. So they do make it a point for everybody to be able to see as much as what's going on during this match. We have Penta, who takes a handful of skewers from Moxley and shoves it into Moxley's forehead, and those bitches are just sticking out of his freaking flesh, and I am just freaking out, and I'm trying not to just roll off my bed and just turn off the TV. It was absolutely difficult to look at. Now, I thought that Penta got hurt, and for the longest, we did not see Penta in the ring. Then they were saying, oh, the doctors are attending to Penta outside the ring. So the match continued, and they didn't say anything about Penta until much later on in the match. So what I did love was as soon as Eddie comes out, Eddie's the last person out of everyone to come out, right, to the ring. And Eddie is like halfway, and there go Claudio. It's on site. That's why I tell you, this is the type of beef that I love. Whenever we see each other, we fight in. And it reminds me of Peter Griffin and the chicken from Family Guy. Every single time they lay eye on each other, they are fighting, and I absolutely love that. So throughout this match, Eddie does make a huge focus on Claudio, but towards the end, things get a little bit different. Now, we do have Trent Beretta mom, Sue. She pulled up, not in a minivan, but in one of those cargo vans, and she showed up with trays of cookies so that they can use the trays to beat each other with or whatever. So that was pretty funny to see as well. But surprisingly, though, Well, not surprisingly, Orange Cassidy. This bitch goes back into the ring and he takes a bucket, and the bucket has a glass bottle. He breaks the glass bottle and he takes duct tape and he tapes it around his around his hand, and he lets the sticky side sticks out, and then he puts his hand inside the bucket so that all the glass pieces can stick onto his hand so he can give Claudio a orange punch with. And I'm like, you sick fuck. Now, Claudio, he dodges that. They wrestle for a few more minutes, and here comes Orange Cassidy after several orange punches to Claudio. He goes for the pin and wins. Oh my god. First of all, I was shocked that it was Claudio that got pinned. And once again, Orange Cassidy, he just has this magic thing about him that no matter what he does, he is going to win in the ring, and I'm absolutely over it. We all know that Eddie Kingston and Claudio thing is nowhere near over, so we're going to see more of that going on. Now, throughout this match, Eddie, he does try not to get physical with Moxley because they're still cool, whatever. They did get physical, just very little. And, oh, I forgot to say, Penta, this bitch came back as Penta Oscuro, and he is in a new outfit. He's the darker version of Penta, and he goes on a ladder to give Santana Destroyer onto two tables that are outside the ladder. However, the weight of both of these guys kind of crushed the bottom of the ladder. And I'm just like, Tony Khan, you got 80,000 plus people up in here. You should have went above and beyond for the damn budget of the ladders. That thing just broke out of the blue. So then Alex Abrahantes had to hold up the ladder so they can try it again. And I'm so shocked that they even tried it again. They went for it again, and this time they were able to do it. But if Alex was not holding it, that thing would not have been able to support them a second time around. Either way, it was a great match. I appreciated that we got to see two different screens at once so we can see what the hell was going on instead of one thing at a time. This time was much better than, the Anarchy arenas that I've seen before. It was fun, it was violent, and I don't want to see that shit again. All right, so we're at the point of the pay-per-view where I felt like things died down a bit, and it's mostly because of the poor booking getting into this pay-per-view and me not feeling emotionally invested in a lot of these matches. So I just wasn't as entertained or looking forward to these things. Now, we do have the Fatal 4-Way match with the women's, and right off the bat, this whole match has become Soraya versus Toni Storm. And Britt and Shida, they're in it, obviously, but it just felt like the huge story here was Toni Storm and Soraya having issues and not being able to get along in this match. And obviously they come in getting along, but like 2-3 minutes later, they're arguing. They apparently had a plan to do something, and they were like, oh, why aren't you going along with the plan and all that shit? And I'm just like, what the hell are y'all talking about? And it just became a huge focus where it kind of took a bit of the shine away from Shida and Britt. I don't know. That just felt a little weird to me. The match was decent. We do have Soraya's family. They are ringside watching in the front row. There was a point in this match where Soraya's mom is holding on to Britt, and Toni Storm, I believe, is going for a lariat or something to the chest. And Britt moves out the way, and she ends up giving Soraya's mom a lariat, and she falls. And Soraya is so mad now that her mom got hurt. And then things became much more personal between her and Toni Storm. And I'm just like, in this case, this just should have been Toni Storm versus Soraya. Now, no surprise, you guys, Soraya does end up taking the win, pinning Toni Storm with a nightcap. So I'm not surprised about that. Her family comes in the ring and they're all celebrating, having a great time. And that's all great and all, but I just kind of felt disappointed in how the shift of the story. I knew there was going to be issues with the girls, but I just felt like the match, that was the whole story, and it just took away from whoever was actually the champion, which was Hikaru Shida. It's okay, but it is what it is. Oh, and I forgot to say, Mercedes Moné was in attendance as well, watching the matches, and they did mention something about Mercedes after Soraya took the win. So I'm wondering if we will be able to see her with AEW at some capacity. That would be really cool. I think that would definitely help shake up the women's division. All right, so we had the coffin match, which was with Swerve and Christian versus Sting and Darby. Yes, exactly what you thought happened. Darby's team took the win, and the predictability of it really makes it hard to enjoy. I wanted to feel a lot of shocking elements throughout this pay-per-view, and I feel like we hardly got to feel that. That's something that was missing from this pay-per-view, was the emotional aspect of everything. The lack of stories, the lack of good stories did take some points away from the pay-per-view, even though the wrestlers are doing a phenomenal job being in the ring. It's still up to the booker to tell them what's supposed to happen and what they had to do when they go out there. And the story not being there just takes the fun out of it. And the predictability of Darby Allin, and then you got Orange Cassidy, these same guys that are always taking the win every single time, just doesn't make the match fun. But kudos to our homie Sting for being 62 years old, and he's out here fucking going through tables and all that stuff. Like, this is absolutely insane. Somebody cut this man a very fat check for his retirement. All right, so we have Will Ospreay versus Y2J. Will needed this win, not Chris Jericho. I'll say this. Chris Jericho, he comes out performing with Fozzy, so he sings this song all the way to the ring. I know a lot of people do not like live performances with wrestling, but it actually makes sense. I forgot to say this, but the person who does Swerve theme song, he was there rapping to the ring as well. I don't really mind these things. At least it's something we're not getting too much of in AEW. Now, they do have a really great match, but I knew we were not going to see some of these really great matches that we already seen Will Ospreay do so far this year. But I do think that according to what we've seen with AEW lately, they do give us a really great match, something that we can definitely appreciate from both Will and Chris Jericho. Chris actually has Sammy Guevara by his side, and I'm just thinking Sammy's just watching and making sure everything is good and Don Callis don't get involved. But this bitch Sammy gets involved, and while Chris Jericho is doing the Walls of Jericho onto Will Ospreay, Don he distracts the referee, and here comes Sammy Guevara with a bat. He hits Will Ospreay in the head with it. So now the ref doesn't see this. So when the ref finally turns around, he sees Will looking out cold onto the mat. And here's Will, who ends up countering out of that. And a few minutes later, he ends up taking the win, pinning Chris Jericho. Now, Sammy tried to console Chris after the match, and Chris don't want to hear it. He even pushes Sammy Guevara away from him. And now there seems to probably be issues with Sammy and Chris. Definitely Sammy is probably going to be like thinking, maybe I made the wrong mistake trying to be friends with Chris Jericho, especially after the rest of the group had left him. So we'll see where that goes on Wednesday. But either way, it was a great job that they put on together. I was not expecting to see anything like Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. Okay, so on to the biggest upset of the night for me, House of Black versus The Acclaim and Daddy Ass. House of Black, they come out in all white, and they just look so damn good. Oh my gosh, whoever is painting their faces and designing their outfits, it's amazing. I love it. Also, during that entrance, we do have Buddy Matthews, who's holding a lantern, paying respects towards Bray Wyatt. So that was really cool to see as well. But this match, I was not emotionally invested into it either. All I cared about was House of Black retaining their titles. And one thing that I did like in this match, though, was The Acclaim, they do this, what do you call it? Shiver Me Timbers onto Julia Hart, which I kind of found surprising. I was like, oh no, she's going to roll out of this. And they actually do it to her. So that was pretty fun to see. But the rest of it, I was just sitting there like, holy shit, Acclaim better not win. And I guess the third time is a charm. For the third time that they've gone with the House of Black, they finally picked up the win, and now they are Trios champ. Oh, it's whatever. Let's get into the main event. All right, you guys, main event. Finally, something that we're all invested in. Adam Cole versus MJF. They have had a really great run as best friends all summer. It's the bromance you don't want to miss. Now, we're finally having the Triple B on the line. Let's see if Adam Cole can get his hands onto it. So, with this match, finally, we have something that really, really plays on the audience emotion. Everybody's invested, like I said, and they're really telling a story in the ring. MJF is being super vulnerable. Even at some times, he doesn't want to do certain moves. He doesn't want to do certain things because Adam is his best friend. However, Adam is obviously more desperate here because he actually wants the title, and sometimes he does things where the fans are just not happy about it because y'all supposed to be bros, so don't be so desperate for the title. And literally, he's doing exactly what he should do going against any opponent, whether it's your friend, it could have been his damn brother, for God's sake. It wouldn't have mattered. If you want your hands on the title, you got to do what you got to do to win. So the fans were not so receiving of Adam Cole and sometimes even booing him, but they were always cheering for MJF. And that made me worried. I was like, holy shit, maybe MJF is going to be the one to betray Adam Cole later on. So what's surprising about this match was that they ended up with a double pin. So when it's a double pin, both guys' shoulders are down and they both have their arm over each other. What happens there is it's a draw. So whoever's champion retains the title. Now, Adam Cole is mad as hell and he's like, bro, 5 more minutes. MJF says, no, you deserve more than 5 more minutes. So then they go back at it again and we're in sudden death. Then things get more crazier. All right, so now we're in sudden death, and somehow the referee gets pushed, and now he's damn near dead on the ground. So then MJF, he goes get a chair, and he gives it to Adam Cole. Adam Cole gives it to him, and they give it back, and they're playing hot potato with it. So then MJF takes the chair, puts it around his own neck, and lays down on the ring so that when the ref gets up, he can think that Adam Cole was trying to use a chair on him. The ref finally is conscious again, and he sees this, and Adam Cole is getting into an argument with the referee. He's talking about, oh, I didn't do anything, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, cry, cry, cry me a river. And then MJF gets up and goes for a surprise pin onto Adam, but he does not get the win. So Adam's a little shook up by that. But then here's MJF. He moves towards the corner of the ring. And then we have Roderick Strong with his neck all braced up as usual. He goes and gives our champion, MJF, a low blow. Now, Adam Cole sees this, and instead of saying anything, he decides, I'm going to take advantage, and he goes for a Panama Sunrise, and then he goes for a pin. But then the referee is down again. Like, when the hell did this happen? I don't even remember. Now, referee's down, laying down. The crowd is counting to damn near 20. Then Adam Cole's yelling at the ref, which is Bryce, tell him to get his ass up and start counting. So Bryce, he finally moves over to count for the pin, and then he goes 1, and then you can count to 10, and then he goes 2, and then you can count to 10 again, and right before he hits for 3, MJF kicks out, and Roderick is mad as fuck. MJF stays on the ground, and then Roderick goes and get a Triple B and gives it to Adam Cole, and Adam Cole is holding it like he about to use that shit, but then he becomes hesitant and decides he's not going to do it, so he throws the Triple B out the ring, and Roderick is mad as fuck. He wants to help his friend. He keeps shouting out, man, we're best friends, and all this stuff, and I'm just like, wow, this is so desperate of you, Roderick. I love it. So now Adam Cole is walking up to MJF, MJF wins the match with an inside cradle out of the blue. And I was like, oh my gosh, not like this. But I guess it's kind of typical of MJF. It's a way that you would think that he would win anyway. Now, Adam Cole is mad about him not winning the title. Had he had used the Triple B when Roderick gave it to him, he could have won and he could have been champion. Now he's in the corner of the ring, he's crying, and MJF was like, I know you lost, but look, everyone loves you, they're cheering for you. I love you, my best friend. And then he goes and go get the ROH tag titles. He takes his own and then he gives the other one to Adam Cole. Adam Cole looked at that thing and launched it like a frisbee. He don't want nothing to do with the titles. And MJF is mad, and MJF is like, wait a minute, this wasn't about us being tag champions together or our friendships. This was about you wanting the Triple B. You were trying to get close to me so you can get an opportunity to the title. You are a piece of shit. He started going off and cursing him out and all that, and I'm just like, holy shit, things are about to get spicy. Now, MJF, he's so mad, he throws a Triple B at him. He's like, bitch, you wanted it, here you go. And then he turns around and he goes, go ahead and do what you wanted to do to me earlier today. So MJF turns his back from Adam Cole, and Adam Cole grabs the Triple B, and he looks like he's about to just whack him upside the head with it, but then he puts it down. And this time, Roderick is watching, and he's mad as hell when MJF and Adam Cole end up hugging each other. He's upset. He is crying like a big baby while the Kingdom is holding him. It's absolutely funny. Now, I applaud AEW for really trying to get a story being played out into the ring. We don't normally get this with AEW. I am over the whole cliche thing about the referees getting knocked out or whatever. We see too much with the Bloodline storyline. I'm over it. But I do think that, we'll just give them some points for effort for them to trying to tell a story. Let's just stay away from that referee cliche thing next time. Now, where do things go off with Adam Cole and MJF? Honestly, I'm not sure. Definitely Roderick will still be involved. We're going to see something regarding Roderick next week. I think right now he's just playing off with the whole neck brace thing, and he's really fine by now. But I want to see how things are going to happen with MJF and Adam Cole as ROH tag champs, and if that's going to help with ROH at all. I really hope so. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I'll be back on Wednesday with Dynamite. Bye.